that God is in control does not mean that we become lax or that we become negligent. No, God has given us people that have brains, people that are smart, people in the medical profession. They know what it takes to a certain degree to prevent the spread. And in many ways, they're watching out for us. Now, I have seen a problem and a little bit of a disconnect in some people in Christian ranks that they think that to take precautions means that you're not showing faith. But that's not true at all. I believe in taking precautions, but I also trust the Lord. I trust the Lord, but I lock my door at night. You missed a good part for an amen. Okay. I trust the Lord, but I lock my car at night. I trust the Lord, but you know what? I brush my teeth to prevent tooth decay. I trust the Lord, but you know what? I take medication when the doctor recommends medication, right? I trust the Lord, but when I go out on a boat, I make sure that I have the right number of life jackets and you know, a fire extinguisher. There's not an absence of trust there. It's just that, you know what? I still trust the Lord, but I believe that God gives us wisdom, right? So I trust the Lord while I take all these precautions. Perhaps the precaution of not meeting together in groups of 10 or greater. The precaution of keeping the distance of 6 feet. The precaution of washing your hands. The precaution of wearing a mask. Yes, none of those things demonstrate, that you lack faith. In fact, all those things demonstrate that you're pretty smart. You're following counsel. You're not just doing things your way, right? Now, nobody wants to be locked in their house for one day, let alone 3 or 4 weeks. But even though this may be the case, I want to just take a few moments to talk to you about how you can maximize your quarantine. Some of you are under mandatory quarantine, that you're listening to me through Facebook. Okay, some of you are on self-imposed lockdown, whatever the case might be. Okay, you know that quarantine can be a God thing. Your time of lockdown, I want you to know something. God can redeem that. God can be in your lockdown. Right? You see, we're all concerned about the disease, and we're concerned about the economy. At least I am. And we're concerned about, we're concerned about jobs, and we're concerned about education, and we're concerned that the kids are going to lose their school year or not lose their school year. Can they get into freshmen? Can they get into school? Can they not? Are they going to do standardized testing? We're concerned with all of that. But perhaps God is saying, I want to put you on lockdown because I want you to focus on some other things for a change. Because all these things that we're focused on now, we were focused on before the coronavirus even hit. We were still concerned with our jobs. We were still concerned about school. We were still concerned about health. We were still concerned about all these things. So maybe, just maybe, God is saying, I'm putting you on lockdown to get your attention. If you believe that, honk your horn. Okay. Yes, I can't see you, so I don't really know if you're falling asleep on me or not. So okay, so that's good. That's kind of a sidewalk amen. Now, did you know that for many years, David from the Bible, did you know that for many years David lived a life of quarantine? He was quarantined from the rest of the world. It wasn't the CDC that commanded him to keep quarantine. David was running. David was in exile. David was living as a fugitive. We've been studying the life of David over the last few months, and we know that David, before he even became king, he lived in exile, running from a madman that was king during that time, that was named King Saul. So what was David doing? David was on lockdown. David was traveling from town to town, wilderness to wilderness. Listen to this, cave to cave. He was in exile for 8 years, and out of those 8 years, 4 of those years he spent living in a cave. Right? Now, caves may be a nice place to visit. As a kid, you might be intrigued. Maybe you went, to Tennessee and you visited the caverns in Tennessee or Kentucky or wherever they have caverns. But listen, they may be beautiful, but I guarantee you those weren't the type of caverns that David lived in. And as beautiful as they are, you don't want to